Okay, Joe Casey with Casey Aviation. I have Dan Cummings here with me today. By the way, this backdrop that's right here, that is Get Down Cool. It's got the little lights in it that you can see that tell if it's VFR or marginal VFR, and is made by Gabe Johnson.
Yeah, I didn't do that, no.
Yeah, cool as could be. Okay, so Gabe, you're a CFI here at Kingdom Air Corps and have been for the entire summer that we've been here. How'd you get involved with Kingdom Air Corps?
Well, the short story is I had a couple of guys at my church that when I started flying about 5 years ago, as soon as I started, they said, hey, you need to meet Dwayne. And they kept bugging me and bugging me and bugging me. And so last year was a transition time in our life, and so it worked out well that I could come up for 2 weeks, and I was a flight instructor by that point, and so that gave me something to do. And so I came up kind of just to get him off my back. And like a week before, my wife Emily asked me, said, "Do you think you're going to want to go back there?" I said, "I don't know. We're from Florida. I like Florida. We like our church. We like our family there." And I thought, I think I'll enjoy Alaska. I like the mountains, but I'm really going to want to just come back here and continue flight training here.
Right.
So I was up here for 2 weeks, and when 1 week was over, I was on the phone with my wife saying, we need to come back here and do this again. I want to be here for an entire summer because I worked with 2 students last year, Caleb and Amber, Gabe's wife, and it was great for just 2 weeks we were there, but you only get to see a snapshot of their training, and so I wanted to be able to see training from beginning to the end. And so not only did I get to see that, but I also got to be a part of the Brooks Range Bible Camp that they ran this year, and that was a phenomenal experience as well. So I'm...
It's amazing to me how many people that Dwayne King influences. I mean, I can't tell you how many people I've stuck in front of this camera and told me, Dwayne King, I talked to him and all of a sudden I'm heading in a new direction in life. And Dwayne King, I think that's going to be the testament of his life, is that he has brought more people into the fold than just about anybody else, as far as that's concerned.
First time I met Dwayne, because I didn't meet him. I didn't know who he was. First time I met him was at MFI, Missionary Flights International in Fort Pierce. They fly retrofitted, or DC-3s retrofitted with turbine engines. But they were at I was at a family day, had my family there, and the first time I met him, he was dishing out cotton candy at that family day.
Doesn't surprise me one iota. That's for sure. Okay, so tell me this: what's your heart and your passion? The Lord doesn't illuminate the entire path that you're going to go down. He illuminates just a little bit out in front and requires faith otherwise. What do you see as your impact, or what do you see doing in the future as it relates to missions?
Well, over the past 18 years, I've worked, up until last year, I worked as an associate pastor. And one of the things that God really impacted me there is 2 things. One, the importance of the local church. That was huge. I mean, I grew up as a pastor's kid, but that really didn't stick with me or get connected with me until I started working at the church. Importance of the local church, just not here, but around the world. And so missions in there as well.
Right.
And so throughout those years, I worked took teams to various countries to work with our missionaries, and each time we were working with the local church there in that field. And so the opportunity to come up here and to train people who would then be using aviation to continue to help local churches in very remote places is something I really want to do. And so aviation, to get back to your question, I want to be able to use that to continue to support missions, whether it's by us going or by God allowing us to have some sort of job that allows us to pour back time and resources to invest in these individuals that God will use, whether 400 miles from here in Bethel or across the Pacific in Russia or wherever God might take these pilots.
Okay, good. It's wonderful. Speak to the person that's at home that says, man, being a Kingdom Air Corps instructor sounds like something I want to give a try, or I want to. What's it like? What's it like? What's your day-to-day activity up here?
Day-to-day as a flight instructor up here, it depends on the weather, but that's true for every pilot.
Right.
So my day to day, I brought a family up here, so it depends on whether you have a family or not. If you're a singles flight instructor coming up, it's going to look a little bit different. But as a married flight instructor with kids, I'd wake up usually in time for breakfast, but because we have kids, not always. We'd come up, we'd do breakfast, and then right after breakfast, the day gets started. Right. And so some days it would involve sitting in this room for a morning, just going over ground lessons. Some days it would involve shortly after breakfast, hopping in the airplane and going and doing maneuvers, going on a cross country.
You fly a lot of different airplanes?
This summer I primarily flew a 150 and a 172. Okay. Primarily. With the two, because I had private student and 2 instrument students, and we only have 1 instrument airplane here at the moment. So that was it. At the very beginning of the summer, most of my flying was within about 4 miles of the ranch. Just doing maneuvers back and forth and back and forth. And then every once in a while we'd break out and be doing a cross country, doing an approach. And up here in Alaska, I tell you what, I mean, I do flight training in Florida, and we fly over flat, bland, and boring topography. And, we're doing steep turns over a little village called Bradley Junction, and it's, you blink and you miss it. It's not super exciting. But if you're doing steep turns over the Knik Glacier, that's a little bit more exciting. It's a little. The view is better as you're watching whether or not your student can keep his altitude and headings.
Tell me this: how was it having your family up here? Was Kingdom Air Corps? Was it a good experience for your family?
It was a good experience for the family. This is the first year I think that they've really had this many families on campus.
Right. There's kids all over the place.
There are kids all over the place, and they have done a good job of staying off the runway, which is really good. Moose get on the runway more than the kids do. But we live down the hill in a building they call the Triplex, which has 3 apartments, and ourselves and the Condons, who you may have met in another video. They live next door, and they have kids, and it was really good for us.
Right, just a good experience overall.
Very good experience overall. There's obviously different challenges in living in a camp-type setting where you're doing group meals, and so family life looks a little different, but it was a very good experience. And the best thing was that for 4 or 3 months, my kids were what I call free-range children. In Florida, we have a fence around our backyard, and that's about as far as they can go, and a little bit in the neighborhood with the friends they have there. But here, they were out in the woods. We were hiking up Lion's Head. They have so much that they can just use their imaginations. The fact that we didn't have a TV up here was no issue whatsoever. Because
that's a blessing, man.
They had the outdoors to play, and they loved it. They never complained about it.
Okay, last question. Softball pitch.
Okay.
Tell me your opinion of Kingdom Air Corps and the work they're doing here.
Oh, it's very good. The ability to work with missionary pilots and try to get them to the field sooner because they don't have to pay off the debt that they will accumulate. Very important. It's not just that, though. The fact that they're involved in the Brooks Range Bible Camp, which doesn't really have anything to do with flight training, but yet it gives the missionary pilots a chance to see this is what mission aviation can do.
Right.
Gives them that real life experience, puts them around people that have been involved in aviation, whether mission aviation or people like you that are involved in secular aviation, and all this experience. And it surrounds these people with all that experience that they can just learn from and leave this place much more, what's the word I'm looking for? More deeply enriched is the best one I'm going to come up with. They'll have grown so much from the beginning of their time here till the time they leave. And so...
It's cool to be a part of it.
It is exceptionally cool to be a part of it.
Well, I gave some of your students check rides, and I appreciate your level of professionalism as an instructor. I love your heart. I've gotten to know you while you're here, and I just appreciate what you're doing in this. I'm more excited to see what the next steps are going to be. I don't know what those are. I'm not 100% you know what those are, but I am convinced it's going to be something really, really cool and interesting, and I bet you're going to be doing some neat flying.
God has never disappointed in the adventure. I've often tried to write scripts for God, say this is what I want to do, this is what I want to do, and He has very seldom taken them. But He has always given me something better, because 2 years ago, this wasn't on the script 2 years ago.
Right.
And this has been amazing.
There's no 5-year period of my life where I accurately predicted what was going to happen like if I gave a 5-year guess as to what or a plan, it never ended up that way. It always ended up better, and I think that's going to be the testimony for you too. Thanks a bunch for being a part of Kingdom Air Corps and all that's going on here.
Thank you.